Welcome to New Awakenings with Edgar, Cayce's A.R.E, where we have some incredible conversations that will hopefully not only educate you, but also inspire you as you embark or continue upon your journey towards enlightenment. We're your hosts, Karen and Will.
We are excited today because our guest happens to be a certified spiritual life coach, a Shamanic Breathwork Facilitator, an ordained Shamanic Minister, and a tarot reader. But most of all, she is a Reiki Master Teacher and has been teaching Reiki and certifying students since 2015. Her work is intended to open a deeper connection and understanding of the soul self and support new levels of personal evolution as she empowers brave explorers to integrate the woo within their normal lives and become the best version of their true selves. Welcome to the show, Jen Pearson. Jen, so nice to have you with us today.
Hi, thanks for having me. Nice to be here.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about, and we're excited to get started. But let's kind of level set. Most people have an idea of what Reiki is, but tell us, what exactly is it?
Yeah, I mean, I've had people, I think a lot of people see it on a menu at a spa, and so they think it's something that is just massage. So I've had people, kind of put their fingers in like a rake thing. They're like, it's like when you put your hands down someone's back, right? Like they don't know, not everyone knows what Reiki is. So Reiki it's an energetic thing. The official definition is that it is a Japanese technique for relaxation that can promote healing. So that's kind of the basic one. That's the definition that I teach in class. But it has a lot of reach. So it is something that I tell clients, in a worst case scenario, you're going to end this session just feeling relaxed. That's your worst case with Reiki. Right. But some people actually will start to feel better. Physical ailments, emotional ailments. There's a lot of research now that shows that it can reduce recovery times in the hospital. It can improve sleep. It can reduce anxiety. So it's a really great modality that just about anyone can use on just about anyone to really improve. I would say most people use it for anxiety, but it can be hands-on. It can be done at a distance. It's energy.
That was a wonderfully non-woo answer to what Reiki is. So thank you for that setup. But we have. Full disclosure, I'm a Reiki level 2 practitioner. So what I understand of it is it's a channeling of life force energy through the practitioner into the person that you're setting your hands on, or like you said, remotely, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain this life force energy, this thing that we channel through us to heal?
No.
Okay. All right, next question, Karen.
There's so much that we just don't understand about energy. So, when I teach Reiki, I'm teaching our best understanding of what it is, but it's really open to your own experience. So everyone experiences that energy a little bit differently. Some people experience it as a religious experience. Some people experience it as a very scientific, like quantum mechanics kind of experience. And some people just kind of go with it and hope they experience something. So there's not really a technical thing. There's not a way to say this is the only way that happens. I listened to your episode, and her name is escaping me now, but she works with angels, and she did the Reiki. I can't think of her name. But her experience of how that opened up this hugely spiritual, woo, unexpected side of herself. And then there's other people that she was going to that were like, no, it is step 1, 2, 3. You can come at it from both angles. So I always am trying to teach it. There's a way to teach Reiki that's just hand positions that you have to follow in a sequence. And then there's a way to teach Reiki that is following your own intuition and how you feel the energy flow and how you can follow that to use it. And so I will always have some students that are going to resonate more with I just need a system, and some students that are going to resonate more with I need to go where it takes me. And so I love that. But I think that as time goes on, we're going to learn more about what that energy is. But right now, no, I can't tell you.
Okay, that's a great answer.
I've experienced it. I've seen it work, but I don't have a good way to tell you exactly what it is.
Well, and I think it's interesting because it is an individual experience. Like you said, you can either feel relaxed or something. The first time I ever felt it actually was with Will. We were laying on the couch, and I had arthritis in my foot, and it was really bothering me. And so he's like, oh, let me do Reiki on you. And, I'm like, oh, I didn't really even know anything about it. So I said, sure. And, he started doing whatever he was doing. I'm watching the show.
So I immediately put my fingers in a rake and went down her back. No,
But I'm watching the show, and after a while, it was starting to bother me. I'm like, honey, you got to stop putting so much pressure on my foot, because I could feel him pushing it down. And he's like, look at me. And I look at him, and his hand is a good 4 inches away from my foot, or 3 or 4. But I could feel the energy so strongly going into my foot that it felt like he was physically pressing down on it.
Wow.
And that was wild.
That is wild. Could you feel it, Will, when she was saying that? Were you aware of the same kind of?
So for me, when I practice Reiki, it's an energy flow that comes out of my palms. I feel it more like a tingling sensation of some sort. People I've worked on have said that sometimes it feels like heat, sometimes it feels like cold, sometimes it feels like pressure. It really depends on the person. So to your point, it's a very subjective experience. Everybody has a different experience of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I find the client and the practitioner, or like in this case, you two, would have different experiences a lot of times. So with students, it's hard because they're trying to learn what it feels like, but what their experience isn't always what the person on the table's experience is, or the receiving person is. So I try to kind of help them get out of it by telling them, you're letting the energy do what it's doing. So like you said, you're, as the practitioner, channeling this life force energy. You're letting the energy do the work. You are more of like a conduit than you are the healer. And so you're trusting that energy to do what needs to be done. So you may have sessions with someone like with Karen where you do this and she's like, wow, what the heck was that? That's wild. And then you may have other sessions where you feel like there's energy really flowing and the person on the other end is like, nah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
no, I always, that's their problem, not mine.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to trust the energy's giving them what they need at that time. And that's hard sometimes to get out of their head. So that's just something with practice. But I was curious how your experience was.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, and so when you're teaching students, can anybody learn this? And if everyone's having different experiences, as a student, how do you know if you're actually doing it?
Yeah, you just have to learn to trust, really. And some of it just comes from practice and confidence building and feedback from clients. I ask them to work with a lot of different people. Try it on your plants, try it on your pets, try it on your family members, your friends, anyone that gives you permission. You always want to get permission before you're doing it. But that is something that it just comes with practice and your comfort level and as you see it happen. In the beginning, I think most people aren't really sure if it's working, if they're doing it right. And I just let them know you don't have to do it right. The energy's going to do it. You just have to do it. Right. And the nice thing with Reiki, there are some healing modalities where you have to be, as the healer, really focused. You have to be in a trance state or in a meditative state, or you have to be in a certain mindset and clear and all of this stuff. And with Reiki, you could literally be like driving down the road and sending Reiki to the accident that you're passing, and you don't have to be like totally focused. And it still works. So it's really kind of cool.
All right. Now, for those that experience the energy and they feel they feel it, they may want to become a Reiki practitioner. So in order to do that, you do these things called attunements. Can you explain what that means?
Yes. An attunement is kind of like, it's a way that the teacher, the Reiki Master, is getting the Reiki student ready for the next level of practice. And it's kind of like taking your energy as if it was an antenna and getting it in the right position, in the right alignment to receive that life force energy so that you can channel it and use it in the way that's intended. So it's lining up your energy with the energy of Reiki. And in higher level classes, so in level 1, it's just specifically that. You're, as the student, now you can channel this universal energy. In level 2, there's symbols that we use, and so those are to help strengthen your practice. So one gives more physical healing, one gives more distant healing, one gives more emotional healing, and you are attuned to the energy of those symbols to kind of enhance your healing in those specific ways. And in level 3, you've got more of a master symbol and things that help align on a different level. So each level has a different attunement to help you with whatever that next level practice is. And it is just like the master is kind of tuning your antenna for better reception.
Got it. Okay. Now, when I think of attunement, or it's like a tuning fork, right? Where you're tuning the vibration at a certain vibrational rate. Are there physical, like do you do like chiropractic adjustments or something, or how does that, like, how does someone get attuned?
Energetic chiropractic adjustments. It's all done on the energy level. So when it's happening in class, I have the students sit in a circle. They sit with their hands in prayer position, at heart position, and they just focus inward. And so I go behind the students and I put my hands maybe on their shoulder, maybe on the top of their head, and I'm doing this whole visualization attunement process kind of in my head to call on the Reiki spirits, to call on their spirit guides if they work with spirit guides, or their angels, or whatever they may work with, to bring in that energy attunement and to seal it into their body. Right. And then I go around to the front of them and I open their hands almost like a book and put the symbols into their hands so that it is activating those hand chakras, so that those are where you start to mostly beam your energy from. Like you said, you feel it coming out of the palms. So we want that energy coming in through the crown of your head and out through the palms of your hands. And so I'm setting their energy to do that. And all they're really doing is just sitting in prayer position with a nice little meditative state and sensing that energy. And so after I do the attunement with the group, I have them draw out anything that came to them, any thoughts, any pictures, any colors. A lot of people see colors. Sometimes we'll have a whole group that sees like one weird thing. You know, one time everyone saw a big eyeball. You know, who knows what that has to do with, but it's just something in the energy that everyone's kind of picking up. And after the attunement, sometimes people feel a little weird. They need some grounding, or they have a day or two of feeling like they have a cold, and it's your energy just kind of like recalibrating and putting things in space for you, getting rid of what needs to go and calling in what needs to come in.
Got it.
So then how long is this process? Do they have to do lessons before this, or could you just grab someone off the street and attune them and they're good to go?
So I wouldn't just grab someone off the street and attune them and they're good to go. I mean, you could technically. There doesn't have to be a lead up process. Because it's kind of a recalibration, your body will feel better. It'll be easier on your system if you make sure you're sleeping well, eating healthy, that kind of thing, a few days at least before. But anyone can do it. So if you signed up for my class the day before and you came in, it's not like it's not going to work for you or it's going to be less effective for you based on how you prepared for it.
So it's just a one-day class?
Level 1 and 2 is a 2-day class. It's level 1, they're done together. So the first day is basically the history of Reiki, what Reiki is, and a level 1 attunement. And then you have homework for day 2 where you learn the symbols, and we do a lot more hands-on in day 2 for level 2.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. So thank you for lifting the veil, because when I got attuned, all I felt was like, right, hands around and whatever. I didn't know what was happening, what they were doing. Now I know, so thank you for that. But right. So then, can you mentioned earlier that you can actually do this at a distance. You don't have to be in person.
Right.
Pragmatically, it's hard for me to wrap my head around that. So how can someone like me come to terms with the fact that something that is an energy flow, you where you are and us where we are, we would still feel it?
Well, I mean, we can get into quantum physics, quantum entanglement, and how that works, and different atoms can actually react to each other at a distance. But I'm not a scientist at that level or anything to get into it. But there is a connection that you can create, and the way we do it in Reiki is there's a symbol that is used in distance. And so in level 2, we learn how to create that connection at a distance, how to ask for permission at a distance, and how to send Reiki without physically being in the presence of that person.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, it's kind of what we talked about. It's easy to accept the thought of Wi-Fi or even having this, Zoom meeting, but somehow sending other type of energy, we have a harder time, I guess, being okay with that. I don't know if it's because it's not like machines somehow involved and wires somehow involved. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not tangible. We can't see it.
Yeah.
Like even if we feel it, we kind of talk ourselves out of it a lot of times, or we explain it away as something, I was just thinking it was a coincidence, or there's a lot of ways we can talk ourselves out of it. And in my classes, I always have at least one skeptic who's like, but really, how does this work? And usually by the end of the class, they've had enough experiences themselves to know there's something to it. So it's still not at that point where we can say, here's all the answers to the universe and how the energy flows, but it's enough to have that experience to be able to say, okay, there's something to it. And for some people, they want to keep exploring it.
Yeah, I was a skeptic in that class when I was in, and I tell you, by the time I left, it there was a marked difference between the time that I walked into that class, because when I took it, it was Reiki 1, and then we had to wait 45 days before we came back into for Reiki 2 for whatever reason.
Okay.
So all we had was Reiki 1, which is hand positions and the attunement and the history of it. And then when I came out of the attunement, when I put my hands back on the person that was on the table that we were practicing, the energy flow, the difference between before and after the attunement was so evident to me that there was no question in my mind that it was legitimately real.
So now when you did this, you were already kind of exploring this sort of metaphysical space a little bit, yeah?
Yeah, kind of. I had gone and experienced it a couple times, but nothing too...
So I guess then my question would be, do you have to be open and, you know, either someone that meditates or someone kind of involved in this or interested, or can you just be like a very scientific person? Like, does it matter? Like, can someone who's never really meditated go to a class and be successful at learning how to become a Reiki practitioner?
Yeah, as long as you're open-minded, you can be successful. And really, you can be closed-minded and still be successful, I mean, to be honest. But you're going to enjoy it more if you're open-minded. You're going to get more out of it personally if you're open-minded. But you don't have to be someone who meditates. You don't have to be someone who's done any pre-work. Or, I mean, I didn't really know what Reiki was when I took my first class. A friend was just like, I think you'll think this is cool. And I went with her. And then I was like, whoa, this is very cool.
And lo and behold.
So you don't have to be someone who's been in the wooey kind of sphere to get something out of it.
So, okay, so talking about getting something out of it, do you have any just kind of memorable instances or stories where you worked on someone and it just was a very obvious difference?
Yeah, the biggest one, I had a client who was coming kind of regularly, and I had just started doing Reiki, so I was offering free sessions to some people just to like get practice. And this is someone who came in through the community. I didn't know her before, and she felt relaxed and she enjoyed it, so she kept coming back. Well, she started having health issues, and she was having a problem with her leg. I think it was her hip or her leg. She was even walking with a cane. She had gone to physical therapy. She had done everything short of surgery, and she wasn't getting it. And she came in for a session. We were on the table, and she was like, oh my gosh, I really feel something big this time. And typically when I'm working, I kind of feel where the energy wants me to go and stay there until it feels complete. And then I go where the next is. And this was like an hour just on her leg, on her hip. And she, at the end of that, got off of the table and did not need her cane to walk to her car.
Wow.
And said she did not need the cane again. And that to me was like mind-blowing to see that level of physical change. I mean, I've seen a lot of people go through emotional healings and changes, and I feel like the energy just puts you in a space where you can allow yourself to heal. So I don't think that the Reiki goes in and heals her. I think the Reiki allows her to do those things for herself. But it was really wild. And so she was like my biggest fan. She worked in a bookstore, and she was telling people like, hey, like, oh, you have a headache? Let me do some Reiki. Let's do some Reiki. So it was really cool.
Awesome. Well, Reiki is a fascinating topic. If someone wanted to learn more about it or go to one of your classes or something like that, what's the best way for someone to reach out?
You can reach out to me. My website is lightenyourspace.com. There's a lot of things other than Reiki, but it's got my contact info on there. You could get in touch with me. I'm teaching at the Edgar Cayce A.R.E. I teach level 1 and 2 in November, and then level 3, which is advanced Reiki, the step before master, is going to be in March. So for people like you who've had, some experience, you don't have to have taken level 1 and 2 with me. There, you just have to have had the attunement to the symbols. And we do a lot of review. So if it's been 15 years since you took level 1 and 2, you can still take level 3 and be okay.
And it has.
See, longer. There you go. Well, I'll see you in March. But to sign up to go to the A.R.E.'s website, and that's where you can register for classes there. I teach privately, but I don't have a space to do classes on my own down here in North Carolina. But I can teach remotely in groups, and obviously, please come to the A.R.E. because that's always the best classes.
Definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jen. It's been a wonderful conversation with you. Thanks for all of your experience, your wisdom, your knowledge, and we will see you in March.
All right. Thank you.
Well, that does it for this episode of New Awakenings with Edgar Cayce's A.R.E. If you missed any part of this conversation or any of our others, all you need to do is go to edgarcayce.org/resources. You'll find the episodes listed right there for you to consume at your leisure. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again on New Awakenings of Edgar Cayce's A.R.E.